Live on a Wednesday. Welcome inside the vault. It's the 3rd of September. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison, and welcome to yet another day of September coverage. Sarah, we're gearing up for week 1, of course, of Ravens-Bills, week 1 of this NFL season, and those two teams will match up on Sunday night in Buffalo. It's a rematch of course, last year's divisional round game, and in a lot of ways, a rematch of last year's really thumping that the Ravens gave to the Bills the first time around that those two teams played in the early part of the season in Baltimore. Today is brought to you by our friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. And this is a sponsor that's been on the Bobby Baltimore side of things for the last couple of years and is now shifting over to the vault. And in order to celebrate the beginning of this season, we are giving away a $100 gift card to Fanatics. That is Baltimore's team store. You can get started right now if you want to get a head start by clicking on the link that's in the show notes and also as a pinned comment right now in the live chat. But we'll tell you more about PRMI in the coming minutes. Sarah, we got a lot to get to, including some breaking news earlier this morning on Isaiah Likely's injury timetable from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. Maybe some more clarity in terms of what his status might be this upcoming weekend. On Sunday, Dominique Foxworth, former Raven, had no time whatsoever for one narrative that he put the kibosh on ESPN within the last day or so. Gosh, what else do we have? Kyle Van Noy really kind of anointing Mike Green as somebody that's going to be, well, Michael, let me be clear, Michael until proven otherwise in the veteran's mind. We'll have some thoughts on Kyle from his latest podcast episode. And Joe Montana left Lamar off a pretty significant list. So all that and more, needless to say, times 2, back-to-back days. We got a lot to get to. It's great to see you, and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you. Hopefully we're going to get some practice participation news pretty soon, Bobby. But until then, yesterday, Isaiah Likely seemed to be teasing us a little bit in terms of his availability. So we know that he's been out basically all of August after having foot surgery. And from the beginning, it's always been like he should be back towards the beginning of the season. And week 1 has always been, will he make it? Will he not? Well, up till now, he's not returned to practice again. Maybe by the end of the show, we'll know. But yesterday, he puts out this tweet that just has the old school clock emoji and the 3 ellipses. And we're all just wondering to ourselves, wow, we haven't really heard much from Isaiah, obviously, because he's been rehabbing. Is he trying to send a message? Meanwhile, earlier that day, one of the tight ends that will probably get more playing time if Isaiah does not play, he says, woke up and hit some smelling salts just to feel something. Hashtag football season. So, yeah, when Isaiah put this out at 6:46, people are like, wait a minute, is he trying to say he'll be back this week? Well, Bobby, we got a little bit of clarity on that because just a few hours ago, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network broke this news, saying Likely is not expected to play in the team's opener against the Bills, sources say. Then he reiterated that Likely underwent surgery in late July and is healing as expected, so that's good news. He still should be ready early in the season. So, Bobby, your thoughts and reaction on what Isaiah Likely meant with his tweet and then also this news from Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, I think this all kind of just is on par for what I would have expected. And I had to refresh myself the last time we heard from Isaiah in this kind of light in the Twitter space. And it was indeed right after his procedure. It was August 1st, Sarah. I just went back and scrolled down his timeline. And he wrote that day, August 1st, 12:17 in the afternoon to be exact. Yeah. Now the clock begins. See y'all soon with a salute emoji, the classic purple devil emoji, one of my favorites. The hourglass emoji, which of course is counting down. Glory to God, prayers, and 100 emoji. So, yeah, I mean, that's literally a month and 2 days ago. And assuming that he had the procedure that day or the day prior or around the 1st, Sarah, like, yeah, he's getting closer, but I don't think he's there yet. Hence the report that Ian Rappaport sources are sharing with him. And I'm excited for what that means, Sarah, for Charlie Kolar. This is one of the most selfless players out there. And this is a guy who's put some good stuff on tape. A lot of what he does on tape doesn't get talked about, doesn't get added into the stat sheet because, and let's be clear, if Pat Ricard can't go, and we'll learn more about his status, I would assume, in the coming hours once practice begins and reporters start, tweeting out attendance and whatnot. He's been dealing with a soft tissue. I don't believe he's practiced since the 14th, according to Jeff Zrebiec. So that's a big deal. And if he can't go, I'm old enough to remember, Sarah, what happened in that week 4 game last year. He was moving bodies around in that Bills game. And so a lot of that's going to fall on the tight ends. They're going to be doing a bunch of different, I would think, multiple tight end sets and some heavy personnel packages. That's going to open things up for the run game and whatnot. So that means for 88, to go back to that initial tweet on smelling salts, I don't know. Yeah, it's the beginning of football season, but Sarah, maybe it's like also he knows that a big opportunity is coming up on Sunday night. This is a contract year for him. Let's not forget every single tight end and the fullback going into contract years. And they're going to be calling on 88 a lot in Isaiah's absence.
So, Bobby, I still do think that this clicking or this ticking clock kind of emoji, yeah, I think you set it up really well, kind of pointing out that he kind of said the clock is ticking once he first had surgery, and now he puts the clock back up. I think it's possible that Isaiah Likely is signaling that he will return to practice today. I just think that it probably would have gotten hopes up that he would play on Sunday. That'd be really tough to do if he does return to practice in 3 days to go ahead and say, yeah, you had surgery a little over a month ago and we're good on 3 days of practice for you to get into the game. So I think 2 things might be true at once. I think one, he could still be at practice, but Ian Rappaport has gone ahead and gotten ahead of it and say, even if he does return to practice today, it doesn't mean that he'll be playing. I could be wrong, but I think this is what's going to be happening. It could be unfolding later today. And to your point, yeah, Charlie Kolar is going to get some more play. I'm really interested to see, as you pointed out, if Ricard does return in a couple of hours, because as we talked about yesterday, the person that fills in for him isn't as obvious. It's so obvious in the tight end room with Mark Andrews and Charlie Kolar. With Ricard, it's not as obvious. And yes, you will probably have more of Charlie Kolar. Maybe they'll use a practice squad elevation on fullback Lucas Scott, who's sitting on the practice squad. But my feeling is if Isaiah Likely and Pat Ricard both return today, I could see Ricard actually playing in the game. Whereas obviously with the news from Ian Rappaport, Isaiah Likely would not.
I totally agree with that. And then along the lines of like this ramp up discussion that we're having, let's watch and see if Jair Alexander gets out there today. But along those same lines of Isaiah having not practiced since August 9th in Jair's case, that's a lot to ask as well for a veteran who is way less than a year removed, as we've discussed, from his January torn PCL, I believe it was. So there's going to be a ramp up period required for him. There's going to be a ramp up period required for Isaiah Likely. But the good news is, going back to last week and designations or lack thereof, right? Neither one of these guys were considered IR candidates. So that's a vote of confidence, if you will, from the team decision makers to their health in terms of, we think they're going to get back before week 4. So I think we can probably hang our hats on that.
Absolutely. And so we'll revisit that if we get the news during this hour. Meanwhile, should we move on to some Joe Montana stuff, or do you want to hit up some super chats?
Yeah, you want to get some early super chats in there?
Sure. Let's get it going.
All right, off we go. Thank you guys for being with us today. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift giving. And Douglas H. Brown Sr. never misses the opportunity to do both of those things. And he got us started earlier this morning, Sarah. He goes, so my fellow Voltrons know I am a civil engineering designer and work from home. So this is my midday break time. Are people calling you out for all the free time you spend with us, Douglas? If that's the case, you let us know. But we're glad you're here. He also makes everybody very well aware he's in the house. He's so glad to be here. He's gifted 5 channel memberships, a.k.a. 5 new Voltrons, our official status. And Eric Hill has come in and matched that donation. You guys are just tremendous. You're so consistent. And Sarah, that brings us to Sod Blitz 3445.
Says if Pat can't go and they pull up Scott, who goes to practice squad? So nobody needs to. So obviously with the new rules that you can use a practice squad elevation 3 times on each player on the practice squad, then they can go and they can revert back without going through waivers. So I imagine if Pat Ricard can't go this week, he would be back somewhat soon, but the Ravens could play with that practice squad elevation without needing to take him officially totally off of it and on the 53-man roster. He wouldn't be on the 53-man roster officially. He would just have that elevation for the game and then revert back.
And how about Lucas Scott, man? Army West Point. If he makes his debut on Sunday Night Football for the Pro Bowler, the perennial Pro Bowler, and Pat Ricard, that's going to be something to watch, both in an optimistic way to see what the Ravens have, but also like somewhat of a nerve-wracking way to see if they're actually calling on an undrafted rookie to make his debut under the primetime lights. Park Heights Prophet Sarah is here. Why don't you take this one? It's a $20 super chat. That's an orange banner attached, and you know he's gearing up closer and closer and closer to kickoff.
Let's go, PHP. 4 days until history begins, he writes. It's time to put the women and children to bed. I would like to stay up for the game. Please. Why can't I stay up for the game, PHP? Time to put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner. I will hold predictions until Friday, but the story is yet unwritten. Sunday begins, pen to paper. We write hashtag 20-0, hashtag no picks.
Yeah, you ain't being put to bed.
I'm not going to bed, PHP.
Nope. No. Matter of fact, Sarah, we won't get to bed until probably about 2 a.m. Just so
Seriously.
We're being thorough on that coming up on Sunday. And that is a good reminder. Appreciate you, PHP, that our game day coverage, we're back. I mean, we are so back. I'm going to be live just about every pregame show on game days. And then you and I will go live as soon as these games finish up. So we're looking forward to game day coverage coming up. And for whatever reason, mine is not firing off.
So am I here alone? What's going on here? Okay, tell us in the chat what you guys can see. Because I don't know what's going on. Are you there?
What's going on here?
What's funny is like I'm having some issues over here too, so I don't know if it's you or me.
I don't know what's up with that. So let me try to get I think StreamYard loved PHP so much that it wasn't allowing me to take him off the screen.
Oh.
And then it just kicked me out entirely. So anyway, Holly Keefe now is with us. She's celebrating 3 months of channel membership as a Vaultron. So thanks to you, Holly. She says ecstatic to rock the Vault merch for the Ravens watch party Sunday at the bank. Hashtag 20-0. That's awesome. So, okay, so they're doing a little bit of a watch party on Sunday. Looks like Holly's going to be in town. So thanks for the show support, Holly. Make sure you send a selfie from the bank. Enjoy that experience. Okay. Is everything working right now?
I think so. Like what's so funny is like mine went, I always have 2 screens in here. One of my screens went black and then you were gone. And I was like, am I here? Is Bobby here? Who's gone? I don't know.
This is very strange. Yeah. Sorry about this, guys. I don't know what is up with that, but it sounds like it's not just on my end. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay and everything's going fine. We've got over 1,000 concurrents at the moment. If you could please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member, all that good stuff. And before we talk about Joe Montana and a list that he left Lamar Jackson off of recently on the Pat McAfee show, let's tell you about our newest sponsor. And that is our friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. They've been sponsoring my personal channel for the last couple years, and now they are exclusively shifting to the Vault, which we're both very excited about. We'll tell you about the giveaway in just a second. But first, no down payment, no problem. That's what they want us to tell you. You can unlock 100% financing with PRMI's down payment assistance programs. And basically the bullet points attached with those are a minimum of 600 credit scores required. You got competitive rates for you, no income limits, and they're available to repeat buyers. I got to tell you, I got a lot of friends in the building. They're based out of Towson, but you don't need to be in the Maryland area. And if you are interested in getting involved in the home buying process, right, starting the journey or the process to your buying your dream home, PRMI is a great way to start. And on top of that, in order to celebrate not only week 1, but also the beginning of this partnership on the vault, they are doing, as you see here, a September giveaway. So here's what's going on. There's a $100 Fanatics gift card that's up for the taking right now. It is super easy to enter in. And what it's going to do is give you $100 credit to Fanatics and Baltimore's team store. All you have to do is go over to Instagram, and you can click on the link that we have pinned in our comment section in the live chat, or you can just go to the show notes, or you can go to Instagram yourself and just look up PRMI Mid-Atlantic. You see them on the screen right now. Sarah, let me know if you think I should zoom in more.
You're good.
But here's what they have going on for us and for our Voltrons. All you got to do, go to this post, comment on it with the hashtag Vault, and in that comment, let them know what your dream home looks like. There's been some great answers over the last few months, Sarah, within that, once people start getting their visions going. 2, follow PRMI Mid-Atlantic. 3, subscribe to the Vault, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably already do. And just scan this QR code right here on the screen, or copy and paste this Google form and just quickly fill it out, because if you win, they'll have the contact information required to get in touch with you. We're going to announce a winner coming up later this month. And Sarah and I just want to say thanks and official welcome. They've done some giveaways with us in the past, Sarah, for some of our bigger live streaming, our mega casts, but we wanted to welcome Primary Residential Mortgage to the Vault. We're thrilled to have them.
Yeah, that's who doesn't need to add to their Ravens collection via Fanatics, via PRMI, and just get ready for the season. I'm here for it. Great giveaway.
And I got to tell you too, Mom told me all summer long, being that we were so close to one another under the same roof, she's like, you are in your nesting phase. I was like, what do you mean by that? She goes, you love grilling, you love furnishing, you love just like like you need to own a home. I'm like, well, I'm going to do a remote travel assignment essentially for the next 8 months. Like I'm not anywhere close to owning a home. I could probably buy one right now if I desperately needed to. She's like, yeah, but you're in your nesting phase. If you're in your nesting phase out there, maybe you go call Primary Residential Mortgage. We appreciate them for being on board. Partner, Joe, you got a lot to say to all that, but we'll get to that another time. Joe Montana is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, as we both know, multi-time Super Bowl champion, multi-time MVP, and he left Lamar Jackson off a pretty significant list. What's unclear is whether or not Pat McAfee during this appearance or pre-appearance prepped him ahead of time. Sometimes when you're in the moment, it's happened to us before, you just forget players, forget teams, you haven't prepped. So I don't know whether or not that's a part of it, but typically there's only a select few of players, Sarah, that at this point in the NFL era that we're in, come to mind when you need to start a franchise at the quarterback position. So anyway, give some thoughts before we toss to it, or we can just toss to it and talk.
I got it. I know you lost it when you went out. I got it. Here's Joe Montana on the Pat McAfee show asked who would be a quarterback you'd take if you had to start a franchise today.
If you were general manager, head coach today, pick the top 3 quarterbacks you'd want to start your franchise with. And why?
I like this.
And not Brock Purdy. You can't take Brock.
Boom.
Okay, Brock is your number 1 pick. We know that.
Yep.
So you love Brock Purdy. You love Brock Purdy.
Yeah. I'm taking the guy in Buffalo.
Okay, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Josh. The guy that surprised me that I thought would, obviously Joe Burrow's another guy I like a lot.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I like the guy with the Chargers. Just Herbert. Just Herbert. I think they've kind of gone by the wayside there, but I don't know. I just like the way those 3 guys are.
BA, how do you feel about his top?
I do also like the guy in Philly though, and we'll get
Jalen Hurts. Okay, just won a Super Bowl.
Okay, so see how he kind of, first of all, he doesn't mention anybody by name. So I don't know what that's all about. But Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Sarah, are 4 quarterbacks that came to Joe Montana's mind when pressed on who he would want to start a franchise with today. Your reaction?
Well, he went on and they asked him, like, why didn't you have Patrick Mahomes? Or I don't even remember if they asked about Lamar Jackson. I think maybe in passing they pointed out that he wasn't on the list. And then Joe Montana went on to say, well, I have age factored in. Well, all these guys are kind of the same age.
Josh and Lamar are the same draft class.
Josh Allen is 29. Justin Herbert is the youngest of the group at 27. Lamar Jackson's 28, so he's younger than Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts is 27. And Patrick Mahomes is 29. They're all within 2 years of each other. Like, they're all in their primes. And by the way, quarterbacks have been playing into their like late 30s and 40s. Like Joe Flacco is 40 years old. Aaron Rodgers is 40 plus years old. Like, I was so confused by Joe Montana, and he's obviously a Hall of Famer. And so, like, it for sure just looks to me he likes guys that play like him, which is a traditional drop back quarterback. Throws in Jalen Hurts, maybe because he just won a Super Bowl. But yeah, like, no Patrick Mahomes and no Lamar Jackson, but you have Justin Herbert because Justin Herbert is 27. Lamar Jackson's 28. Patrick Mahomes is 29. Like, that's why you're going. What does Justin Herbert have over the league? Why does everybody keep putting him in there? Like, he's not a perennial. I know the Chargers made the playoffs last year, but they're not like perennially in there. And maybe it's because they're going up against KC or in that division and whatnot, which can't be fun. But yeah, maybe part of me was wondering, like, was this like an off the cuff answer and he didn't think through it enough? Because this is an odd list to have Justin Herbert on and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson off. It's just a major head scratcher.
I think that's a real thing, what you just pointed out, and I alluded to it setting this clip up, that when you get caught off guard with these types of questions and you're getting look, I'm not defending the guy. I'm just trying to provide some sort of potential reasoning. Yes, some sort of potential reasoning so we can all understand the logic. Because, Sarah, to me, it's pretty clear the five. I would think there's a universal agreement on this, somewhat universal. Maybe there isn't, but I'll list off my five right now that I think you can all make an argument for.
The five that you're going to start a franchise with?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, to me, it's Mahomes, it's Lamar, it's Burrow, it's Allen, and it's Hurts. Like, I don't know. Am I missing anybody on that list?
Are you gonna? Is that in order?
I tried to do it in order. Yeah.
Do it again. Mahomes.
I went with Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Hurts.
Okay.
You know, and so, like, I don't see how. Look, all due respect to the potential that Justin Herbert has, but he hasn't shown that full potential consistently throughout his years in the league. Sarah, he's just 3 games above 500 as a career starter. He's 41-38, and I get it. He's had to overcome a lot of dysfunction in Chargers land. He's already had multiple head coaches, multiple coordinators, right? Injuries all up and down, but everybody has. Okay, Lamar's had the same head coach, the same, only 2 coordinators, so on. It's actually 3 coordinators if you go back to his rookie season. But anyway, I don't know if I'll ever understand. And maybe it is just this simple, like, wow, we see the potential. And did you hear what he said there about Herbert? He's like, well, it's gone. What did he say? It's gone over I think he said it's gone below the waistline. I would think that's referring to the dysfunction around him, even though Jim is doing his best post Brandon Staley to kind of build the Chargers back up to relevance and keep them as consistent as he can. But there is this fascination about him. I think it has to do with what he can do, not necessarily what he has done at this point.
Well, and it's funny because we were both trying to like figure out why he would go the route that he went, and we're trying to like give grace. And you're like, well, maybe it is because he didn't think about it. But then as soon as somebody says, hey, what about Patrick Mahomes? He could have said like, oh yeah, duh, Patrick Mahomes. He's like, this is just off the cuff. But instead he's like, I went with the younger guys. But well, the guy that's like 2 years younger and barely above 500, that one. So I don't know if it's totally off the cuff. He seemed to have a reason for it. So I guess that just blew up our excuse for him. And shoot, I had a second point, but I think I lost it. It just, this is the other second point. Okay, if you're going to go with youth, how do you not go with Jaden Daniels? Sure. If like youth is that big to you? He's going into his second season, correct? Like last year was his rookie year. And, early in the year, they were talking about even MVP for him until Lamar went head to head and Lamar played, better. Not that Daniels didn't play well at all, but Lamar played better and just put that kind of conversation to bed and put him back more in the rookie award conversations. But I mean, if you're going to talk about youth, why don't you put him over Justin Herbert? The list does not make sense at all.
No.
Meanwhile, you were talking about Justin Herbert barely being above 500. Lamar is well above 500. Let me go look up the exact stat. I believe he's in the maybe low 70s in terms of win percentage. But then here's this stat. Even with him being high in the win percentage, according to Doug Clausen here, Lamar Jackson has gone 52 straight starts without losing by more than 7 points, including the playoffs. The longest quarterback streak since at least 1950.
And he's a 70-24 career starter, to answer your question there.
What's that percentage?
Oh, high 60s, low 70s. Let me quickly do that for you.
You do the math for us over there, Bobby. I'm very curious what it is of active quarterbacks, win percentage. And I want like the 5 that you just named that you would start your franchise with.
Let's see.
You carrying the 1 over there? All of that.
I'm trying to get an up-to-date one because I'm looking at. Hold on.
While you look it up, I just can't get over the wide gap when we get player lists versus like executive. I know that Montana was a player, obviously didn't play with him, probably prefers his style more. But how do you not see the proof in the pudding by now? 2 MVPs, almost 3. This career win percentage that is right there with probably just right underneath Mahomes and right there with Burrow and Allen. And it doesn't matter who his weapons are. Doesn't matter if he's got a good defense or a bad defense. If he's healthy, the Ravens are in the playoffs. How do you not want to start a franchise with that?
Yeah.
Did you find the numbers? I'm working.
I think it's 71.8.
71.8. All right. That's pretty good.
I mean, he's consistently been over 65%. Literally wins over 65% of the games in which he starts. And while that number obviously is subpar and below 500 in the month of January, we discussed all offseason long that is going in the right trajectory, upward trajectory. So look, we can talk all we want about quarterbacks that have the potential. And that, look, I'm a believer that Justin Herbert, Sarah, has the potential. He's shown glimpses of that potential. But Lamar has consistently flashed, and he is more than just potential. He's achieved greatness throughout 7 years. And now it's ultimately, can he achieve, legacy-defining greatness in the month of February? Obviously, that's what he's out to do. And I think go ahead here.
I shared my screen here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. But this is according to Stat News. I put in active quarterbacks. See if I can make this a little bit bigger. Active quarterbacks with the highest career percentage. And obviously, you got to take out Tanner McKee. You got to have so many. You have to play in so many games to be up there. But it's Patrick Mahomes at 79, Lamar 74, Jaden Daniels 70. He only has 1 year under belt, but pretty good 1 year. Jalen Hurts 69. And then we got Taysom in there. Josh Allen 69. Where is Joe Burrow?
Okay, see? This is winning percentage. So this must be. Can you see? Because I could barely see. Can you see how many games total they have for Lamar?
Yeah. 94, it says right here.
94. Okay.
That may not include playoffs.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway.
Because what I was looking at, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I was just looking at a different number. But the point is, he's right there. And when you look at him all time winning percentage, to your point, and to that list point, I feel like every single time they have a Sunday night football game or a national broadcast, they'll have him up there with the Bradys, the Mahomes, the Rodgers in terms of just all time winning percentage. That's the list that he's on with the likes of the Bradys and the Mahomes. So it's got to put it all together, man. He's going to start to get the notoriety that he deserves from everybody. And I'm sure the doubters will always exist if he ultimately gets to the big game and wins it all. They'll always be there. That's part of what I guess just the reality of being great and what comes with it. But it's undeniable what he's done so far.
Well, meanwhile, one of the super chats yesterday asked us to check out Eric Mangini's predictions on First Things First, who in the past, and he clearly knows it because at the end of the clip he acknowledges it, has not been the biggest believer in the Ravens in the past. That's always been Chris Broussard's role on this show. And so he was asked to give several predictions, including, each division winner for both the AFC and NFC, his MVP pick, and then his Super Bowl winner. Super Bowl, both the people who will make the Super Bowl, both sides of the NFC and AFC, and then who will win it. So I'll pause it in the middle. First, he's going to give his MVP.
MVP is Joe Burrow.
Oh, I like that. All right.
Okay, and here's my thought process. The only way that the Bengals are getting to the playoffs is if Joe Burrow is the MVP. So since I have him going to the playoffs, and with those offensive weapons, which it's not just the wide receivers, it's the tight ends. I like the running backs. I think collectively they're going to have to score a ton of points, and if they do that, it's going to be hard to deny why they had the success that they have. So for my super.
Okay, so that for sure is going to happen. If the Bengals make the playoffs, for sure the league is going to give MVP to Burrow. Because what have we all talked about offseason is how their defense doesn't look any better than last year. And obviously the defense is a big reason why they didn't make it. And so if they continue to be terrible and somehow Joe Burrow and that offense wills them into the playoffs, I think what Eric Mangini just said, all the MVP voters are going to have the same logic, the exact same logic. So people wanted to give it to him last year and he didn't even make it to the playoffs. And it just, when you're playing from behind all the time and when your defense is that leaky, you have to throw the ball nonstop. So his numbers could be, through the roof, because you're going to have to. If the Ravens defense was giving up 30 points every week, Lamar would be throwing it more. And so his numbers would be gaudy. And so I feel like if the Bengals make the playoffs, Eric Mangini is going to be 100% correct.
Even at a 9-8, 10-7, sneak their way in, you think you could still see voters going in that direction?
They tried to last year and they didn't make it through.
Well, he got some vote. I think he got some votes, right?
He should have gotten 0 votes. You don't make it to the playoffs, you get 0 votes in my book.
Do we know who voted? Do we know who voted for him?
We could probably look it up.
Yeah.
Because remember they released the names last year?
I do. It doesn't even matter. But
I remember they were ticked off because they're like, you should have told us. Well, they should always tell us. That should be the practice.
9-8, that's a tough pill to swallow, an MVP of a 9-8 team. But I guess I could maybe be receptive to it if the defense puts forth a similar performance the way that it did a year ago. And Sarah, what they did in preseason, if that's an indication of what's to come, I would at least have a receiving year for sure.
Okay. Now on to his Super Bowl predictions. Here we go.
Prediction. Going to Baltimore Ravens.
All birds.
Coach! I like it. I like it. The Philadelphia Eagles. And here now.
Wow, Eagles.
I really believe that the Eagles have a chance to repeat, and I love the way that they're talking about things. I really like the offseason they've had. I just don't have the conviction that they're willing to just do what it takes every game. And for Baltimore, Lamar's made strides each year. He's sort of broken down barriers each season, broke down some significant ones last year. Incredibly talented across the board. Got to imagine this is their year.
Excellent. Wow. Excellent job.
Otherwise. That takes guts. The coach's predictions took the most guts.
I know.
Of all.
It was same with last year, and he was right last year.
Coach, you're going to get a sandwich. I'm going to give you a sandwich.
I don't.
That's the ultimate.
Maybe I'll get back in the good graces of Baltimore.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But people in Baltimore are mean to coach.
Yeah,
people in Baltimore need to be nice to coach.
I think I'm a hater for
Lamar.
Okay, it's going to be Chris Broussard and Coach Mangini on the same side this year. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what Chris's predictions are. I'd be a little bit shocked if he didn't predict the Ravens this year, seeing as where he's been in the past. And the Ravens return a lot of their guys, but a better defense. What are you thinking over there? You look like you got thoughts to share. What's going on?
You know what's funny? I covered this yesterday, and then when you listen to a clip over and over again,
different things stick out.
Yeah, this is probably like the third or fourth time through for me, and I didn't mention this yesterday. I'm just going to throw this out to the audience right now. What kind of barriers did Lamar break down last year? I'm kind of puzzled by that. What barriers that hadn't been broken down prior?
I'd say the Steelers.
Okay, overcoming Pittsburgh, the big talk going into.
Big talking point was that the Steelers had Lamar and the Ravens number.
Yeah, he's been below 500 against them. He hasn't played a lot, as we always should note, because of injuries and COVID and regular season bye weeks in the finale and whatnot. So, okay, I could see sort of like getting the Pittsburgh monkey off his back in a sense.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe he's conflating 23 and 24 because 23 is when he really, with Todd Monken, really was the handcuffs were taken off, so to speak. He, and he was impressing more with his arm, and taking control at the line of scrimmage. And so I don't know if he's conflating 23 with 24 on that part.
Mo wrote not only Pittsburgh, but also upward trajectory in the postseason. Hasn't had that signature Lamar game yet, but has stacked together really nice halves. Had a solid game against Pittsburgh. Go ahead.
40 plus touchdowns to 4, interceptions.
It could be the old school way of prototypical quarterback play in Mangini's case.
At least his numbers looking more like that. Yeah.
We find ourselves like constantly, and the Ravens just signed a special teamer here. Let's see. They are bringing in Saints 3-time All-Pro special teamer and safety JT Gray. Jordan Schultz on it. He was a surprise release earlier this week. Had significant interest from a number of teams. Baltimore expects him to be on the field sooner rather than later. So some special teams help en route to Baltimore. Jordan Schultz and others noting that former Saint, 3-time All-Pro special teamer and safety, JT Gray is coming to Baltimore.
I can bring that up. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is interesting. Is this one of those signings, Bobby, that you're like, whoa, can't believe he was released. We just got to pick him up. Or is it, okay, we're not quite sure we have what we need on the special teams unit. Like I know last night on your Ravens Collective, which I listened to in support of you guys, listened to it this morning on my way to tennis. But I know you talked about how special teams is one of your areas of concern just because the Ravens lost so many guys on their coverage teams. And so, he's a 3-time All-Pro. So it seems to me that it's like, oh, a 3-time All-Pro is out there. We should go gobble him up, and maybe a little bit less about, oh, we're nervous about our guys. Although there is a little bit of nerves because there's so many young guys that they're plugging in, and it would be nice to have a veteran out there.
Yeah. Well, obviously this is an instant reaction, so we got more to learn about JT Gray. But I did share that last night, some of my concerns. We went kind of position group by position group in terms of like where we might be skeptical. And I was really talking about Tyler Loop in a sense, because while he's had a really successful, by all accounts, preseason, summer overall, aside from a day or two in OTAs, we just don't know what that pressure management is going to look like for him, even though he handled it pretty well over 5 years at Arizona. But until those bullets are flying, I guess I was just kind of keeping myself at bay and expecting anything going in. That said, Sarah, when you lose your aces in Chris Board and Malik Harrison, who logged a lot of special teams reps over the years, and that unit itself having been down in recent years and highly penalized and unsettled at punt returner, even though they feel like they got their guy, in LeJontay Wester. Rookie's a rookie. And so I felt like out of everywhere team-wide, it's special teams for me. And so my hope is that they feel like, yeah, they are maybe unsettled there and they're not done yet, and that this guy's going to factor into their plans. More from Jeff, noting that Gray played 70% or more of the Saints special team snaps in each of the past 5 years. So he comes in with plenty of teams experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's 29 years old. Jeff also notes that
29, that's pretty young.
It is.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like middle of the career. You're not over the hill yet.
Yeah. Jeff also notes that it wouldn't be surprising if he factors in the Ravens game day plans sooner rather than later. And then went on to note what I just kind of talked about, having lost, several special teams core players. So
Bobby, we just went through the exercise. Me and Jason from Huddle Up Films just went through an excruciating exercise of trying to find 53 players only on this roster. And then the Ravens provided a pretty nice talent pool to the rest of the league, with somebody like Bo Braid and some of these other guys. So the question now is being asked, okay, who's losing their spot with TJ Gray coming on?
JT Gray, yeah.
JT Gray. Thank you. My guess would be that they would get him on the practice squad first, and they have a deal with him saying, hey, you will eventually be on the 53, because there's a chance, like we said, we get 3 elevations, right? He gets 3 elevations before he would have to be cut. Yep. So the Ravens could do that 3 times. And by then, who knows what the health situation is going to be, and the decision can be made for the Ravens. So my guess is that you put him on there, but that does mean somebody from the practice squad would be cut, but I don't think they need to cut anybody just yet on the 53-man roster.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Here he is himself. JT Gray, again, was released. If you're just coming in, we've got breaking news here. A new Ravens player is coming to Baltimore. It's JT Gray. He was released on the 1st, Sarah, by New Orleans. He's a 3-time All-Pro and a 2021 Pro Bowler. He's a safety and also a core special teamer. That's where he's made his hay in the National Football League as a special teamer. And here is his note to New Orleans. No reason to read this at length, but this is what we're reacting to right now. JT Gray coming to Baltimore, and perfect timing when you're live, partner, and a player news story breaks like this right now.
That is nice. And by the way, Jeff Zrebiec confirmed my guess. He said that the Ravens are adding him to the practice squad. So that is confirmed from Jeff Zrebiec, not necessarily the team yet, but Jeff said a source told him that he will go to the practice squad.
All right, good stuff from Jeff. Again, this is an all-pro, both in not just both, but 3 times, 2019, 2021. And how about this? Most recently in 2024, last season, as a special teamer. He is your newest Baltimore Raven. So
this begs the question, because he obviously, with all that special teams experience, that seems like a boon to Baltimore, right? Like, we have all these young guys on special teams. This is a veteran special teamer. The question is, why was he cut by New Orleans in the first place? Do they see a fall off, or is it more just like a numbers game that they feel like they're good on special teams, but they need the spot for defensive players that they need to use or whatnot? But I am curious to look into why New Orleans cut him.
We're going to do exactly that. So that is your breaking news. JT Gray's the newest Baltimore Raven, having been released earlier this week by the New Orleans Saints. And now Chris Horton gets a chance to see what they have in him. Ravens personnel department gets to see what they have in them, and we will update things accordingly as soon as we know about it.
I think I just got my an answer to my own question.
Yeah.
The AI overview, which is polling from Louisiana Sports and elsewhere, is saying it was a combination of reasons, including salary cap management, the need to prioritize younger talent, and that part doesn't seem relevant. So those are the 2 major ones.
Well, what we know, I think for sure, Sarah, is that in New Orleans, there's usually always a salary cap issue, or they're typically salary cap tight.
Always. Okay, so here's Louisiana Sports .net. The NFL season is filled with surprising moves, and the New Orleans Saints just made a shocker. So nobody out there was expecting it, which is good news for Baltimore. because it's not like, he's dropping off, he's no good. So they're shocked over there. Kellen Moore confirmed Monday that the Saints have released the veteran safety, JT Gray. Quote, we know the high-quality player that he is, the impact that he's had on this organization, Moore said, just with the roster management part of things over the course of the season and throughout the next few weeks. There's a lot of challenges associated with that. It was a really tough one for us to do this. So there you go.
Just the context
we needed. It was just the context we needed. It was a squeeze. So, hey, on the surface, we're just learning about this after a couple minutes, but of what we know on the surface, this looks like a good move for Baltimore.
And perhaps a coveted special teams replacement for what they've lost. So we'll have to see. And they have lost quite a bit. They allowed a lot to walk out of their building, both willingly, right, in Chris and Malik's case, and then really the decision was made elsewhere, really by the league, although it was their decision too to part ways with Justin Tucker. That was sort of a complicated one, as we know from earlier this offseason. So there you have it, our instant reaction.
Yeah, well, now we put him on the same kind of watch at practice, right? We're going to be watching for Isaiah Likely, Jair Alexander, Ricard, and now will JT already be out there? Will he already, is he in the building? Did he sign? Will he be out here first thing?
Yep. Lots to look out for sure. All right, let's get to some super chats. That was an impromptu little segment, obviously, with the breaking news. But let's make sure we get fully caught up to super chats, and then we will talk more about this game coming up on Sunday night between the Ravens and Bills. We left off with Holly, so let's kick things back in with Eric Hill. He's our guy. He always shows up, and we appreciate him. And he typically comes with something important. And today, he's got, in case no one tells you they love you today, just know that I do. And all of his hashtags that have so much meaning behind them. Hashtag 20-0, hashtag 6K for LJ, hashtag Suicide Awareness Month, hashtag the First Corinthians. And it's another verse for you, Sarah. If you want, should we look it up or should we?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, perfect.
And now,
and while you look that up,
I got it.
I'm going to go blow my nose. I'll be right back.
Thank you for announcing that. It's like going to this sweet Bible verse. 1 Corinthians 13:13 from Eric says, and now abideth faith, hope, charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity, which is probably, I get the feeling that Eric lives by that because he is constantly giving us love and puts his life on the line for his community all the time.
Every time. He's the man. Appreciate that. Didn't mean to also take away from the Bible verse there. I just, allergies, I guess. I don't know. PHP says, sorry, Bobby. StreamYard just wants me to come on for the Friday Vault Week 1 hype moment. He's pitching this one hard for later this week. And, of course, that's referring to the reason why, I guess he thinks that's the reason why StreamYard bailed on us earlier on in the show. And look who's here. Jake Asman is in the house. He says, Tampa Trosset is here to stay, folks.
I guess we gotta switch that billboard behind you.
I got to tell you, first of all, Jake, I don't think he'll mind me saying this, is just a month or two removed from the same exact hair procedure, Sarah, that I got a couple years ago.
Oh.
And first of all, it's not an updated picture of him. He's looking clean. I just saw something on his Instagram the other day.
Yeah.
He did the Bosley hair transplant a few months ago. The guy is going to be an absolute assassin in New York. Everybody's got to look out. The dude's a problem. And I enjoyed spending some time with him out west last month. Eric Hill for you. And, well, I guess this was an extension of it. Sorry. This is an extension of the other super chat. Just a couple more hashtags. I assume that was a character limit. And that is hashtag stop the 22 per day veteran suicide number. I hate to see that number exist. Love to see that Eric is using this platform as a way of spreading awareness. We really appreciate him. And Dream, Sarah, this one's for you.
It says, rip to Stream East. Had a good run.
A couple people were talking about this, and I'm honestly not too aware. Okay, Stream East, the world's largest illegal sports streaming platform, shut down in a sting operation. Oh, whoa. Wow.
Yeah, I have no clue about any of that.
A year long. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, I didn't either. I guess you and I just do things the right way. The right way.
Well, neither one of us gamble even legally, let alone illegally.
Well, no. This is streaming, not betting.
You said, oh, illegal what? Oh, illegal streaming. My bad.
This is like, professional sports coverage and number of other things.
Gotcha.
So, wow.
And it's illegal. Okay. Yeah, people are going to have to pay, though. What was it? $300 or $400 to get the Sunday ticket on YouTube TV?
Sunday tickets, no joke, for sure.
Yeah. It's a nice feature, but it sure is expensive.
Yeah, it is. And you and I need it. We are out of market, man. We are out of market. Didn't factor that into my plans, right? When I left Baltimore. But appreciate you, Dreams. Thanks for making us aware. It's all over the internet now that I Google searched it. So Sod Blitz 3445 says the scary part is if Scott balls, meaning Lucas Scott, he can't stay on the practice squad because someone will claim him. No way we'll keep 2 fullbacks active. Pat's in his last year. Can't lose Scott.
That's not how it works, Sod. It's old rules. You're thinking of under old rules. Each team has 3 free practice squad elevations where they can return without going through waivers. If they try to put him back after the 3rd elevation, then he would have to go through waivers.
So for the time being, Lucas is protected. Now, hopefully hopefully this is a total afterthought, and Sarah, in like an hour or two, we'll start to see the tweets come out that Pat's practicing, but we wait and see until. Bauer Power 4, Sarah, this one's for you.
Just got a little batch of Vault merch. Can't wait. Gonna be whipping all over with that bumper sticker repping.
That is awesome. And Bauer Power, take a look at the profile photo with his 2 dogs. That is awesome. Yeah. What's that jersey? It looks like it's a South Carolina Gamecock jersey, if I can see that correctly. And I think this is Chad Bauer. So anyway, Chad, appreciate you, man. That's awesome. We can't wait to hopefully get a photo of that bumper. Can't wait to see it. Oh, look at this. We got a run on gifts. Sergeant Knight has gifted 5 channel memberships on this Wednesday. So 5 new Voltrons. And PHP came in to match that. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you. Nagasaki 20, Sarah, this one's for you. And it's responding to Joe Montana commentary from earlier.
He says, Montana is like most older athletes. He wants the QB that reminds him of himself. Montana wasn't the most athletic quarterback, but ran the West Coast well. And he was replaced by an athletic quarterback. And he was traded out to Kansas City at the time. I remember it vividly because I was like, it's Steve Young's time. Let's go.
I was going to say, I think you became a fan of that replace. You were already a fan of that.
I like that trade as much. Hey, all due respect to Montana, he is a Hall of Famer, but it was Steve Young's time.
Wow, what a passing of the torch too, from one legend to another.
Seriously,
man, San Francisco's been totally gifted with talent over the years at that position. Baltimore's not done so badly either.
From Joe Lamar, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Dreams 37 says the MVP award is slowly becoming a participation trophy. Sod Blitz says Pittsburgh, 4K passing, plus 115 rating, and one bad quarter, I should say, in the playoffs. So I think this is all referring to some of the barriers that Sod feels like Lamar broke down last year, according to Eric Mangini's recent commentary. Ocean 08, Sarah, this one's for you.
Like we have said before, MVP is no longer who the best player is, because if it were the case, Saquon should have won it. It's just anti-Lamar vote. Yeah, I hate how people play with the definitions of it. It's the best player in the league. Just stop.
Heather McCubbins is in the building. What's up, Heather? Brand new selfie, I think.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she does. And she's gifted a channel membership, and then she went ahead and gifted another one. So 2 channel memberships on this Wednesday for Heather. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Ravens fan 1973, that's John R., has gifted us a super sticker, and 2 of them, to matter of fact. So appreciate you, John, for being here. And Sod Blitz, Sarah, is busy today, and he's got time.
Says, I'm always playing PTI Tony Reali in the chat. I got stats and corrections right here, folks.
Love Tony, man. He's a great ESPN host. DHB Senior, by the way, pardon the interruption, is an all-time show too. And I used to caddy randomly for Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon in Bethesda, Maryland. And these guys, I thought it was like the best thing ever until I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you after the show. I can't say it. DHB Senior has gifted us 5. I know that's a tease, but I don't want to say it. DHB Senior has gifted us 5 channel Voltrons. That's on top of the super chats from earlier on. He's the man. And Saad Blitzera, one more back with you from what you clarified a minute ago.
Said, can't any practice squad member be signed to a 53 without waivers? Yeah, but you're using the word signed again. And we're talking about practice squad elevations. But yes, any practice squad player can either be signed or elevated to the 53-man roster. If you're signed to the 53-man roster, then you're there permanently. If you're elevated, it's for a game.
Yep. Like we expect Brent Urban, for example, to be several times in the early beginning of the season, you would think, to help out on that defensive line. And just so that we're fully caught up to speed, Chops McCoy is in the building. He says, who ends the season with the most receiving touchdowns? Ooh. That was Mark. That was Mark last year, right? With 11. I think Bateman had 9.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm remembering
correctly. I mean, Isaiah could be in the running. It stinks that he may not. I don't know when he's going to be back, so that could put him behind.
Yeah.
But I'd say those 3 are going to be the 3 that could lead it if Isaiah kind of comes from behind.
Who ends with the most receiving touchdowns? Yeah, I think it's
Isaiah, Mark, Bateman. I think I wouldn't put Zay in there.
No, because he's just not your red zone threat the way those guys are, right?
I mean, Hopkins, I just don't think he's going to get as many opportunities.
No, I don't either. So it's really hard to say given Isaiah's uncertainty, even though
I'm going Bateman. I'm going Bateman.
You're going to go Bateman. I'll probably go Andrews.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Chops. Appreciate you. And that brings us fully up to speed there. Before we switch to this next topic, just want to remind everybody that Primary Residential Mortgage is now sponsoring the Vault. And we have a September giveaway out there for the taking for all of our Voltrons. If you go to the show notes, if you go to the live chat right now, you'll find the link that you need in order to participate in this month's giveaway, and that is a $100 Fanatics gift card to Baltimore's team store. And trust me, that team store has a lot of different merch, has a lot of different merch options for you getting ready for the season. So thanks to PRMI and thanks to all of you in advance for participating. We'll randomly announce a winner given that Instagram comment section that you got to participate in coming up later this month.
So, Bobby, we are closing in on this Sunday night game between Ravens and Bills, obviously. And for some reason, it's not letting me bring up this next slide. Can you bring it up?
What is up with this, man?
Come on, StreamYard. Jeez.
Is wacky today, isn't it?
Let me try that again. We are closing in on this Bills-Ravens Sunday night football game. The betting odds are coming out. As Jamison Hensley of ESPN points out here, the Ravens are 1.5 underdogs at the Bills for the opener. Lamar Jackson is 10-5 as an underdog, which is the best record as an underdog in the Super Bowl era with a minimum of 10 starts. As an underdog, he is 12-2-1 against the spread. I did not know that. That's pretty good. Lamar Jackson, as we just said in the last segment, he should be a quarterback that you should start your franchise with.
Yeah.
And so, and by the way, just a 1.5 point underdog, when you're on the road, they usually give 3 points to the home team. And so they're basically saying, Vegas is saying this is a 50-50 proposition. This is a coin flip. So we know that. And lots of different national shows today have been debating who needs this week 1 win more. Is it the Baltimore Ravens or is it the Buffalo Bills? I could have taken so many different segments from different shows debating this, but I think we liked the Lewis Riddick and Dominique Foxworth debate this morning on Get Up. Here's what they had to say about who needs this game more.
This game's so important to the Ravens.
I think from a mental standpoint, this team was devastated the way they lost to Buffalo last year. devastated. I mean, from Mark Andrews to Lamar Jackson himself, the way in which they dropped the ball, literally, in that football game, I think has really weighed on this football team all offseason long. Because they know it just like we talk about it. They know they're the best roster in the NFL when you look at them 1 through 53. They have got nothing but playmakers and studs at every single position, and they fortified it this year. To come out of the gate and go to Buffalo, to the place where they lost, that was their last game of the season a year ago, and lose the opening game, I think would be devastating for them mentally.
I think Lou hit it on the head from the standpoint of they're going back to the scene of the crime, essentially. After that Bills loss, Lamar talked about, like, I'm so sick of being right there. And still not being able to punch the ticket.
Oh, no, I mean, I just want to disagree just a little bit because I think the Ravens are, not that anyone's suggesting that they're not mentally tough, but they lost in the playoffs a year ago to the Chiefs and then came out the first game of the season last year and lost to the Chiefs. And guess what? They end up winning 12 games and were a dropped 2-point conversion away from getting closer to the AFC Championship game. So I think this game is hugely important for the Ravens, but for slightly different reasons. I'm not concerned about them going into some psychological hole. I think they'll bounce back from that. They have the pedigree to do so.
I'm just going to say quick look. I think there's a cumulative effect of this, though.
Yeah.
The fact that they continue to get close, and they keep losing these big games.
Right.
And the players themselves are the ones who talk about the fact that, look.
Okay, Bobby, so I kind of have 2 questions for you. Number one, the question that they were posed with, which is who needs the game more? And number 2, do you see psychology being a reason in your answer?
No.
Okay, so psychology's out for you.
Psychology is out. The Ravens have proven that they can look, what's your favorite phrase? Look adversity in the eye or look ugly in the eye.
Yeah.
And they looked ugly in the eye because they were darn ugly through 2 weeks last year and they still won the division. So I'm going to scrap that for my liking. And then kind of to the necessity side of things, it's week 1. They proved last year that even with a slow start, they can still have success in the postseason. With that said, anytime you get a chance to have the postseason run through your place, you obviously, that's second to none. And so, yeah, this is a need for both of these teams, Sarah, because home field advantage, you better believe home field advantage is massive in the AFC with just how much of a murderer's row it is. Really, you can count 5 or 6 teams that would be tough outs in January. And so knowing that the AFC East is a cakewalk, at least on paper, and it has been in recent years, that's for sure, in comparison to the AFC North, on top of the Ravens having a first place schedule outside of their own division, this is a necessity for the Ravens. Don't get me wrong, but it's a necessity for both of these teams because home field advantage could be talked about should they not win this game months down the line. So
so it's big for both, but you're leaning towards Baltimore.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, they proved last year that you can scuffle out the gate and still somehow, some way, thanks to Pittsburgh's horrific end of the year and the Ravens' consistency down the stretch, they can still win the division. They can still win a playoff game. They can still be a tough out in January. But you obviously don't want to have to go on the road earlier than if you don't need to.
Yeah. So let me address like the psychology part first. Like, I think that psychology has a part with the Ravens, but only in the postseason. And I feel like Louis Riddick is trying to conflate it into all big games. The Ravens have a phenomenal record in primetime games in the regular season. And so many, especially in December, must-win games against other playoff teams. And so the Ravens' psychology comes up in the postseason, and I think that there's merit to that, which is why you do hear stuff like, Lamar saying, hey, I was too tight, or I'm sick of getting to this point and coming up short, or Odafe Owe saying we have to tell ourselves that we're enough, right? And so I do think it comes into play then, but I don't think it comes into play in week 1. And I think Dominique Foxworth made a great point saying, hey, they lost the first 2 games last year, and then they went on to win it. So, so that being said, I definitely think it's more important for the Ravens to win this. And either team is going to be able to bounce back. But to your point, the Buffalo Bills in that division versus the Baltimore Ravens in this division is you might as well be eating. It's like a cakewalk in one and it's a gauntlet in another. And you see it right here, the 2025 strength of schedule based off of the 2024 records. And maybe at the end of 2025, we'll look back and say, okay, it wasn't as difficult as it seemed for the Ravens, or it was more difficult for the Bills than it seemed. But I mean, the Bills, the Ravens have their strength of schedule is 533. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're the 9th hardest schedule based off of last year. Then you got to go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 for the Bills. They're not even the top half of the league in terms of strength of schedule. And they have a team that's better than that. I mean, the New England Patriots really got to take advantage of that for so many years. And they were great in and of themselves, but it didn't hurt them that at the time the Bills were perennial losers at the time. And Miami is always right around that 800 mark. And then it's the Jets, one of the worst run organizations for decades now. And so for sure, it's going to be a bigger uphill climb for the Ravens after this game than it would be for the Bills. So I feel like the Ravens need it for that seeding alone. And I think that the Ravens are determined. They've talked about it, that they want to start out fast. I think they can do so on offense, given all the returning pieces from Todd Monken to Lamar to his weapons, his running back. There's basically one change across the offensive line who has been in the system for a long time, even though he wasn't a starter by the end of the year. And I mean, just look at these schedules. As soon as these two teams play, they both actually play, teams that are not expected to be good next. You've got the Jets for the Bills, and then you've got the Browns for the Ravens. So both of them should have a prime opportunity to bounce back if they happen to lose. But then the Bills go on to play the Dolphins, the New Orleans Saints. Patriots are supposed to be better. We'll see, but they're still not, this juggernaut. Then they've got the Falcons and they got a bye week. That's not a tough schedule afterwards. The Ravens, after they do the Browns, they've got Detroit. They've got Kansas City. They've got the Texans. And then they've got the LA Chargers before their bye. I mean, it's night and day after the game of the Sunday night opener, which is why I think the Ravens need the win more than the Bills.
Yeah, the Ravens and Bills' first 6 weeks, Sarah, leading into their bye weeks. I mean, it's a tale of two different stories, which is what you're kind of alluding to, right? Like it's for the Ravens, it's like, okay, what kind of cushion can we buy ourselves for down the stretch when inevitably injuries come into play, right? When bad weather comes into play, when the war of attrition comes into play down the second half stretch, like how much of a margin of error can we build for ourselves essentially leading into our bye week? And so I shouldn't say it's certainly not a make or break beginning of the season, but no doubt it's a murderer's row with some difficult first place schedule kind of opponents that are staring at them in the face. And you know what, Sarah, like there's enough core returners, which is something you also alluded to on this team on both sides of the ball, really, that remember how difficult it was to climb out of that 0-2 hole. Because it's not just something that affects you for week 3 and week 4 and those first couple of weeks after you start with 2 losses in a row, but it's literally that you are scratching and clawing all year long to catch up with the rest of the division, or not the rest of the division, but catch up with Pittsburgh. And so you literally have to, for months after faltering, you have to try and dig yourself out of the hole, and they did that. But that's a lot of wear and tear that comes with it. So, needless to say, there's a lot. This is for all the marbles in a sense, at least from a seeding standpoint, coming up on Sunday night.
Right. I mean, it's a long season, right? Like all the marbles might be a little strong, right? But it certainly would give you. What's that?
Seeding marbles, not all.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say all the seeding marbles. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a long season. There's going to be losses by both teams. But just a quick correction for myself. I accidentally said LA Chargers. It's the LA Rams. that the Ravens played before their bye.
They got the heart. We've already heard about the Harbaugh rematch. If that were the case,
right? For sure. Yeah.
Jeremiah says one of the marbles. All right, that's fair. One of the marbles.
Maybe we'll give it 2 marbles because head-to-head would be the tiebreaker. How about that? We'll give it 2 of the 19 marbles or 18 marbles.
We're divvying up marbles now. Love it. So good stuff there. Gosh, countdown to Sunday's on. 8:20 kickoff. You and I will be live just before midnight, hopefully, assuming that this thing ends in regulation after 4 quarters. And we're looking forward to our first post-game live stream of the year here inside the vault.
Quick hits?
All right, let's do it. Why don't you lead us in?
All right. Well, actually, you should do it because this is yours.
All right, I'll do it.
Yeah,
yep, I'll do it. I got you. So, this was cool. So, Kyle Van Noy, Sarah, last year was doing an in-season podcast with Gerald McCoy, former pass rusher. And this year, it looks like, based on what Kyle shared in his most recent episode on he and his wife Marissa's YouTube channel, is going to just be doing his own short-form content after games this year. That was my understanding of it. And I thought that his thoughts, first of all, he was extremely complimentary of all of the rookies, especially some of the undrafted rookies, and called it one of the best classes, if not the best class he's ever experienced as a pro. And this is it's a 2-time champion. He's been around this league for a long time. He's on the other side of 30, and he still has a lot to give, as we've seen with some double-digit sack seasons over the last couple of years in Baltimore since Eric DeCosta and the Ravens took a chance on him when, as he said, he was on the couch prior to their London trip, and he was brought in not long prior to that and just has really had a resurgence in the last couple of years. But here he is, Sarah, on who I feel like is kind of like his rookie, if you will, Michael Green. And the reason why I'm saying Michael, I'll just let him share that.
I can't forget Michael Green. Michael Green, everyone calls him Mike, but I call him Michael. He's Michael until he makes a couple plays when it really matters. But very impressed with Michael Green. Has a very bright future. I'm excited to be his teammate and just see where he goes with time. I mean, the tape speaks for itself, and he's going to be a big impact player for us this season. I'm excited about him. So,
all right, for starters, Sarah, can we just blow this up and just take a quick look at this dude's backdrop? Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
nice. That's a Harbor East, beautiful skyline apartment in downtown Baltimore. Some people thought, based on my Twitter mentions yesterday, that was like a Zoom backdrop. No, that's his apartment, and that's his view of the Inner Harbor. Not so bad when you're KVN overlooking the city. But what this is really about, Sarah, is his high praise for the rookie, and also a little bit of a challenge built in there for number 45, which I know you and I can both appreciate.
Yeah, I like this. I like that the veteran is kind of giving the rookie some milestones and let him know, like, hey, you're going to earn respect through different ways. And we can call you Mike, as if, we're on the same level once you are showing that you are on our level. And I think that this is a good, I think this is good mentorship, right? Like we were talking yesterday about Lamar Jackson needing to be more vocal and call people out. And I think this is KVN's way of leading a young rookie to get to the point where he's making plays and making a difference on the game. And then he will be able to show that respect by changing his name, if you will, right? Like right now, you're not an NFL player just yet, but you could be based off of things that you do. And Bobby, I was also listening to Kyle Van Noy when he was on the Lounge podcast. And by the way, I just noted, so is he just doing Kyle Van Noy himself? He's not doing it with Van Noy, and wasn't it McCoy he did last year?
Well, yeah, I mentioned that at the top of the segment in terms of my interpretation of his most recent drop was that, hey, had a great season with Gerald, but it was a little bit too cumbersome. And so he's doing short form content on his specific YouTube channel, which I would think is setting himself up for a post-retirement gig. That's the way I'm understanding all of this, but it's Marissa and Kyle Van Noy. That's what the name of the channel is called.
Oh, it does have, that's his wife, right? Marissa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, speaking of her though, as I was listening to him on the Lounge podcast about, deciding to come back for another year. And he said, I talked it through with Marissa, and he's like, I'm excited about solidifying myself in the Ravens legacy. Like, he knows the legends that have come through Baltimore, specifically on the defensive side. Baltimore is obviously known for its elite defense, not perhaps, I'm just going to say it, probably the best defense of all time in 2000. And he wants to be a part of that legacy. I know he's got a legacy in New England, but he wants to make one here. And so he wants that Super Bowl ring just as bad as anybody else around here. And he knows that it's not just himself, but if he can lift those around him like Mike Green, he'll have a better chance.
No question about that. And some other quick hits for you. This is a cool family one that definitely, for the bigger families that are going to the bank this year, you'll want to pay attention to this. But what an awesome, not industry-wide, but I think like the Atlantas of the world really kind of set the tone with this trend. And the Ravens are calling it a flock-friendly affair. 11 items under $5 that you can buy this year, concession-wise, at M&T Bank Stadium. The barbecue chicken sando, $4.99. Nachos are $4.49. Hot dogs, $3.49. Pretzel, $1.99. French fries, $3.49. Peanuts, $3.49. Blackbird chips, $2.49. Popcorn, $1.99. A 12-ounce beer is going to run you $4.99. This is not Yankee Stadium, folks. 24-ounce, $3.99. 20-ounce water, $3.49. And take a look at where the Ravens beer price stacks up in terms of 16-ounce beers league-wide. They're the cheapest at $6.60. Most expensive, just south of us. Or I guess I'm not in Baltimore right now, but just south of those of you that are in the Baltimore area, $16.49 in Landover with the Washington Commanders is your steepest. And that seems like it's more of a traditional rate these days. But as you can see, there's a nice trend. I mean, look, Cincy's right there at $6.80. Cleveland, just over $7 for a 16-ounce beer. Detroit, just over $7. Minnesota, just over $8. So, I mean, this is awesome. And then there's another graphic that the Ravens had in that thread that kind of put together what a whole meal would look like for a family of four, for example. So you can go check that out on Ravens Productions and across their social networks. This is cool.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, I obviously have a family of 6, and it is so much to feed, especially now that I have 2 teenage boys who just never, ever, ever get full. And so looking at these prices, you said this isn't Yankee Stadium. Could I get like a movie theater to do this? Can we get like a movie theater trend? We went to, what do we go to over the summer? We went and saw a Superman. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like out of there. I'm like, how did we just spend that much money? Like, I'm just getting popcorn and a couple drinks and the tickets for the family of 6. And I'm just like, woof. Like how can a family afford this type of stuff? And here it is, what you said, the stuff that you can get for $10 per person. Feed a family of 4. I do need to feed a family of 6 if we can get that in there. Premium hot dogs. So 4 hot dogs, 2 popcorns, 2 pretzel bites, 2 waters, and 2 beers. I guess that's for mom and dad, I'm assuming, for $38.88. Can I trade out my 2 beers for 2 more hot dogs? And this would really work for me. That would be great.
Right. I just think it's, I was going to say, you are not the average family, are you, these days? Nor are the Trossets, you know?
Right. But, right.
So anyway, I just think this is I hope this trend continues because, as you know, Sarah, just getting your butts in seats as a family of 4, much less a family of 6, is a difficult ask these days if you want to sit, especially in the lower bowl. So good on the Ravens, good on everybody else for leading this charge across professional sports and elsewhere, just in terms of events that are coming up. This is courtesy of the Ravens. Of course, it's week 1, Sunday night in Buffalo. It looks like there's going to be a watch party that I know Holly told us about, and it looks like she's referring to this right here, September 7th. A kickoff watch party at M&T Bank Stadium featuring the Yin Yang twins. On September 3rd, which is today, girls flag football kicks off across the state of Maryland, which is exciting. September 4th, that's tomorrow, there's going to be a drone show down at Canton Waterfront. On the 5th, Purple Friday rallies everywhere, presented by Miller Lite. September 7th, as I mentioned, is the kickoff watch party. September 10th, car stenciling at M&T Bank Stadium Lot D. And then on the 13th, the 30th season commemorative flags will be given out, and they are available at participating Lido Pizza locations. So the Ravens are dialing it up, Sarah. There's plenty to do in the coming days, getting ready for week 1 of the season.
Bobby, some of the practice participation notes are starting to come in. Cordell Woodland, our friend Cordell, has been on the show multiple times throughout training camp. He reports that Jair Alexander has returned to practice, but there is still no Patrick Ricard. Also not seeing anything on his Isaiah Likely, although, yeah, we'll see. If we wait a couple more minutes, I'm sure more will come in here. But yeah, the Ravens just put up a picture/video. Let me see if we can grab it with Jair out there, but it's looking like it's a no-go for Patrick if he's not here today.
All right. Well, yeah, today's a heavy install day. Obviously, Wednesday's just a big day overall, gearing up for a Sunday game. So good news for Jair. I guess I'd still be somewhat surprised if they go on Sunday. And if he does go, I would think it's going to be on a pitch count, you would think, just given his knee and the severity of that procedure that he underwent back in January, and given how valuable he can be or could be for this team should he stay healthy throughout the year. So I would think they want to be super careful with his ramp up. But yeah, those are your practice updates that are just starting to trickle in. You'll have that on Jair in just a second. But meanwhile, just some Buffalo tabs to keep an eye on here. Gabe Davis, he's signing back with the Bills. He was a free agent leading up to this decision. He initially is going to be on the Bills practice squad as he continues to recover from last season's torn meniscus and gets ready to return to play. That's from Adam Schefter. The Ravens have gotten to know him over the years, Sarah, obviously, because he's been with the Bills to begin with, and now the veteran looks like he's coming back. I'm sure at some point he'll make his way up to the 53-man roster.
All right, so we're going to do a screen share here of Jair. Just getting after it, looking. It's just a warm-up drill, right? But looking like, I'm sure he's chomping at the bit. I remember John Harbaugh saying last week, he's like, we're going to have to try to protect him, right? Like they're going to have to make the decision, not him, because I'm sure listen, we all know his personality by now. He's like amped up 24/7. And so for a game like this in Buffalo, to where he wants to try to like join his teammates in exacting just a small portion of revenge, because that can't come until the playoffs are around. I'm sure he wants to play. And so we'll see how he goes. I mean, if he practices all 3 days, Bobby, I think, why couldn't he be in there if he practices all 3 days?
Yeah. But protect, like what you're getting at, protect him from himself. Should you feel the need to, if you're on the staff,
right?
Knowing the injury history, knowing how valuable he could be for you, should he be healthy throughout this entire upcoming season, and have the long game in mind when it comes to Jair Alexander. Hopefully he has that as well. But sometimes, to your point, you got to step in between and be that liaison almost.
You do, but if he's ready, he's ready, right? If he's ready, he's ready. Like sometimes people are like, oh, just wait a week. And it's like, sure, if he's like at 90%, but if he's 100%, then there's no need. Yeah. There's no need to wait.
Yeah.
Let me just double check here, see if there's any more news here. We got video of Lamar out there. I'm just trying to find out any word about Isaiah Likely. Haven't seen it yet.
Go ahead and take a look, and I'll just get caught up on super chats here. JL Green's in the house. He says, hi, B, and hi, S, Bobby and Sarah. My fantasy football draft was yesterday, and after accidentally drafting 2 kickers, I was able to add Isaiah Likely. So fortunate am I, LOL. Well, JL, why did you draft 2 kickers? And which 2 kickers did you draft? I'm no fantasy football expert, but I'm curious as to how that happened. But we appreciate you, and hopefully for your sake, Isaiah is back rather soon, especially than later. Ocean08 Sarah is back with another super chat.
Like I said early this week, don't be surprised if we win by 10 or more points. Media somehow thinks Bills and Ravens are equal. It's not, LOL. Belt to arse.
Thanks, Oceans. Eric Hill is back. Big day for Eric. He says, shout out to DeBrickashaw Ferguson, retired left tackle of the New York Jets, for a recent street named after him in our hometown. Let's go Red. Hashtag Freeport Red Devils. Hashtag shut up and hit. Hashtag future Hall of Famer. Hashtag Strong Island. So, Eric, are you originally from Long Island? I gather this? But cool. That's a cool shout out. Always nice to have a street named after you. It's pretty dope. Eric Hill has gifted an additional 5 channel Voltrons. I feel like Eric thinks it's a Friday. I cannot wait, by the way, for our first Purple Friday, Sarah, coming up in a couple days. And I wonder if we just get an onslaught of excitement in here, especially if we bring PHP in as he's requested for like 5 minutes. I just wonder. We'll have to have that conversation off the air. Appreciate you, Eric. Bauer Power 4 is back, Sarah.
Those beer prices, though, gonna get me in trouble, LOL, again. Oh boy, I bet he's got stories to share.
Oh, Chad, let's go. I'm excited about that. You better be calling into the show. Sod Blitz 3445 says, looked into it. Practice squad players can still sign to another team, 53, if they were elevated for a game, as long as they do not play that team within 6 days.
Yeah. So I guess he was saying to another team. I thought he kept asking about the Ravens. Yes. Whenever you're on the practice squad, you can be picked up by another team. Yep. Yeah.
Thanks,
I'm
Sod.
sorry if I misunderstood your question before, Sod.
It's all good. Okay, we're fully caught up on Super Chats. We're fully caught up on news as of right now. Practice is just beginning, and there's press conferences later this afternoon. So we'll have a busy one tomorrow, Sarah. 1, how was your podcast yesterday? And 2, is Mike fired up for our first Buffalo hit? I should say our first guest segment for familiarizing ourselves with the opponent, which is coming up on Friday.
Yeah. So I was on the Buffalo Plus. I hope I got the name right, podcast. So it was awesome. It was a great conversation, very professionally done. I mean, like, he was clearly, like, it felt like in a studio. He had a producer there. I was like, okay, we're a little bit behind when it comes to having like a studio, but you and I are in different places.
Sweet.
Okay.
And if you don't have the right insurance, you can be paying for this yourself. So
Can you put there you go.
Bridge is already really good at the
Can you get the audio off, Bobby?
Oh, I'm sorry. You can hear all that,
much
huh?
they were able to do with their first.
I kind of wondered.
Okay.
There we go.
I had my tab muted. It must not have gone through StreamYard. Sorry. I just wanted to tease this.
That's all right. So Mike was great, really extremely professional. He'll be on with us on Friday. Really good conversation. I didn't have getting a lot of insight on the Bills because he's just asking me questions. So I was talking like 90% of the time. But one of the questions that stood out to me was he asked me how we view like the tiers of getting over the hump of like Kansas City versus Buffalo. And I said, well, I'm sure we both feel like Kansas City is above these two opponents. Like the Bills would put the Kansas City Chiefs above the Ravens, and the Ravens would put the Kansas City Chiefs above the Bills. But even more than that, though, I said, honestly, like for the Ravens, it's really about neither of you guys. You know, it's what I've said on this show before. It's about neither of you. It's about the Ravens playing their best. It would be about Buffalo or it would be about Kansas City if the Ravens put it all out on the line. They played up to their potential and they still couldn't beat one of these two teams. Then it would be a story about them. But it's not about them. It's about the Ravens. The Ravens aren't winning for now because they aren't playing up to their potential. So I put that up there. I will just say I gained a new perspective, Bobby, of like being the guest versus the host. It seems like as a host, if you have a great guest, you're like, you just want to keep asking more questions and like, it's never enough time. I will say, it was billed as 30 minutes. It took 46 and my son was sitting outside for a very long time and he was not happy with me. And so I think it's good if we ever want somebody longer, say, hey, how much more time do you have? And then they can speak up if they need to be somewhere. So I just gained perspective on that. But the conversation itself was absolutely phenomenal.
Well, what's also phenomenal, Sarah, and I'm sure you'll share this sentiment, is when we go do things like this and we promote it, people show up. Look at all these people in the comment section that I'm just scrolling through right now.
I didn't see this.
Who came to show you a little bit of love. I mean, a lot of people were highly complimentary of your segment, both that are our subscribers and that are Mike's subscription audience in the Buffalo space. So this is pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to go check those out.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 70 plus of them. And I just dropped the link in the live chat, by the way, guys, if you want to go check out.
How many
Sarah's
views does
segment.
it have?
Over 4,000.
47. Okay, that's pretty good. Like usually when we have on guests, those segments tend to like get less views than our other pullouts for the live show. So
118.
121. That's pretty good.
You know there's going to be some of these too, right?
It's for sure. Listen, I definitely was obnoxious on Twitter to the Bills fans for sure last year because I was fighting for Lamar to be MVP. So if they know me from Twitter, they for sure don't like me.
Oh, they were pretty
But
obnoxious.
in this show, I'd like to say we kept it pretty cool. I don't know what would have been obnoxious about it.
Well, I think some of them at times from what I saw in your mentions were pretty darn obnoxious to you as well. But anyway, great stuff. Way to represent us. And we look forward to having Mike on, returning the favor, coming up on Friday. And that's Buffalo Plus for those of you asking. And I dropped the link to the show in the live chat. And just in case you missed that a little while ago, just because there's over 2,100 of you in here right now, I'll go ahead and throw it in once more if you want to go check out Sarah's segment. We have a couple more super chats before we get on out of here. And Eric Hill is saying yes, but I can't remember what this is to. Yes.
You asked, a piece from upstate New York or from New York.
Long Island. Thank you. Appreciate that, Eric. God King says y'all didn't want us to support Sarah yesterday. Who's y'all?
Yeah, who's y'all?
We wanted everybody to, and they did, and they certainly did. JL Sarah is back, and I think he's giving us some explanation for why he drafted 2 kickers. This one's for you.
Oh, he says, long story short, my computer was being repaired, so I had a draft on my Android, which was challenging. I had what's this? Fairbairn? Fairbairn? Okay. Oh, Fairbairn, the kicker. Okay. Texans and then Boswell of the Steelers. Okay. That's funny. That's too bad, but that's funny.
I'm glad you followed up. Thanks, JL. Appreciate you, man. And thanks to all of you for spending a great Wednesday with us. Just a ton of interest today, ton of love and support for us. We appreciate you for going out into that Buffalo space for Sarah.
I got the Isaiah Likely news. He is not at practice.
Okay.
Judge Rebeck said he didn't see him.
Yep.
He said Likely was on the field early and had a chat with John Harbaugh, but he went inside early.
Yep.
So we'll see how the Ravens put that on the. We're going to practice. We're going to get an injury report today, the first one since last year.
Correct.
So
no Ricard, no Likely, and something to look out for in the coming days is a potential game day activation call up for Lucas Scott, the undrafted rookie fullback out of Army West Point. What a story that would be to make his debut in Pat Ricard's potential absence and on primetime football, no less. So something to keep in mind. Guys, we have, let's just do a quick little refresh, Sarah, in terms of how many people have participated thus far in our giveaway. And to do so, I'll go over to the screen share feature on Instagram, and then we'll get on out of here. Only 4 people have commented on this Instagram post that Holly's one of them. What's this? Afaya, AC, TLG. Only 4 so far. So 4 of you putting yourselves in contention for this month's giveaway, and that is $100 to Fanatics and Baltimore's team store. It's all merch. It's all gear for the 2025 season. And we thank Primary Residential Mortgage for the opportunity. Would love for you guys to participate. Go follow those instructions. Click on the link that we have in the pinned comment, also in the show notes. And with that, partner, I think we'll get on out of here and rejoin everybody coming up tomorrow on Thursday for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream, well under 24 hours away from doing so. We'll have a practice report to comb through, as you mentioned. We'll have press conferences to review and everything else that happens between now and then. So for Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this one. Thanks to PRMI. Thanks to all of you as Super Chat donors, commenters, supporters, subscriptions, gift givers. You guys are the best. We appreciate you more than you know. And as always, Voltrons will catch up with you guys coming up tomorrow. Thanks for spending some time with us here inside the vault. Catch you soon.